Ric Bucher covering the NBA since the early 90s. Podcast On the Ball with Ric Bucher. He's on Speak after our show. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yes, we do.
We do. A lot to talk about. So, is this the new Jayson Tatum, Ric Bucher?
It's the new old Jayson Tatum. I've seen this Jayson Tatum before. I've seen electric performances. I just haven't seen them consistently. And he's one of those guys that when his confidence is there, and when especially if his three-pointer is falling, and the way Philadelphia defended him, he can go and get you 50. I've never doubted that. Yeah. I've never doubted that he had the talent.
That's my takeaway.
Yeah.
But he will. By the way, Giannis has done this. Giannis broke through, and then this year he went back to what he was, which is I don't want to be near the free throw line late.
Yeah.
Bully ball.
Yeah, I'm not going to put Giannis. I mean, Giannis will still try to get to where he wants to go. He will still try to take over. I think there were some elements about his game that fell off. Yeah. I thought the mid-range was coming.
Yeah.
But with Tatum, it's not a matter of talent. It's a matter of mindset.
Thank you.
And it's just not consistent. So am I buying in on Jayson Tatum and the Celtics? No way in hell am I doing that. That'd be crazy.
He will have another game where he passes to Marcus Smart with 4 seconds to go.
Well, and it's not just that. He'll have another. I mean, we had it. He had the great fourth quarter, but 1 for 14. You got to figure out a way to manufacture points.
Yeah.
Don't just keep doing the same thing. And there's some technical aspects about his game that I think certain matchups give him a problem.
Yeah.
He plays really high.
Yeah.
His handle going to the hoop is not as good. If you watch Jaylen Brown, just watch the two of them. Jaylen Brown gets low, gets his shoulders past the defender, and goes. Jayson kind of plays high, which means he's susceptible to getting picked. And if guys get underneath him, then he's uncomfortable. And so I don't know. I'm not sold.
Okay, so I've said this, that I don't think the Lakers are a championship team, but I have come to terms with, I kept comparing LeBron to prime LeBron.
Yeah.
And if you just take his numbers through the playoffs, he's 24, 10.5, 5, or 10.
Similar.
38 minutes, 50%. It's like he's a better version of Jaylen Brown. It's like, so if I would stop saying old LeBron, forget his age, and go, what is he producing?
Yeah.
Well, that's an all-star.
Yeah.
So they have AD, who's arguably the best player. LeBron, that's arguably a better version, somewhere between Tatum and Brown.
Yeah.
Well, why aren't they a championship team?
Yeah. In part because of the pieces around them. I mean, Austin Reeves is arguably your third best player.
Well, he is, yeah.
Undrafted, first time in the playoffs. At some time, that bill gets due. What I'm really I'm amazed by are the number of star calls that Austin Reeves gets. Austin Reeves is all about
contact
and exaggerating contact. Now he's a great finisher, and he's figured out the 3-point play. I'm going to get the contact, and then I'm going to finish the shot, and often makes it. But I am flummoxed at the number of star calls he gets. Normally, you have to demonstrate that unless I'm fouled, I'm beating this defender. He hasn't been around long enough to prove that. And yet, anytime there's any kind of a bump, and he's just pump fake, oh, got you leaning, going to lean in, shot, and he's going to the line. I'm just like, I've never seen a young player be given that much latitude by the officials this early in their career. I mean, good on him that he's doing it.
Can they beat the Nuggets? The matchups are interesting.
The matchups are very interesting. And look, I've picked against the Lakers in the first 2 rounds. Well, I'm doing it again. This is a different Nuggets team than they met 2.5 years ago in the bubble. Jamal Murray is much better. Aaron Gordon is a big athletic body to put on LeBron. Bigger, maybe not more athletic, certainly not more athletic than Andrew Wiggins, but bigger and stronger for the game that LeBron plays now.
Yeah.
You can play him. I think Aaron Gordon, after seeing what he did against KD, I thought he did a tremendous job. That it'll be interesting. If Aaron Gordon doesn't lose his confidence, if he continues to play aggressively, then I think that's difficult. And then Jokic against AD. I thought that Ayton would give Jokic more problems because of his athleticism. gave him none. AD is obviously playing better than Ayton is, but can Jokic do the same thing to him? And then you have multiple defenders. Denver is such a better defensive team than Golden State is, and Mike Malone really doesn't like switches. He doesn't like them switching with particular matchups. If he wants Aaron Gordon on Kevin Durant or he wants Aaron Gordon on LeBron James, then he's going to have that set up so that's what they get. And the Warriors just were all too happy to switch every time, which I thought really backfired on them.
So the Warriors. So we didn't think they were a championship team. They were too reliant on Steph, too much of their scoring's backcourt. So Steve Kerr now acknowledges that, and you were critical of him privately, publicly, whenever we hung out.
Yeah.
I think they got to move Looney because I think they have to have somewhat of a scoring threat as Steph ages. Clay still shot 41% on threes in the season. They're not bailing. Draymond, Steph, and Clay are coming back. I think they'd like to keep Poole as Steph ages. I think they could maybe have to move him to get something. I think they have to go get a reasonably offensive-minded, not strictly, but reasonably offensive-minded big.
Yeah.
That feels like the play. You can't go up against Jokic and Anthony Davis and some of these guys. I mean, now the Celtics don't get anything from Robert Williams, but it feels like literally you could defend 4 people. And if Draymond's not shooting, when there are times he is, but you couldn't have him on the court, Looney.
Yeah, the problem is that Looney doesn't make a whole lot. I don't know how much he's going to get you back. And I know there's a couple teams out there that would love to have him. I don't know what you're going to get back for him. They need 2 pieces. They need a 3-and-D wing defender. Mm-hmm. They need a true wing defender. And they need a stretch 4-5. So that you can put somebody out there on the floor and you can mix and match with Draymond. I wouldn't move Draymond.
What about Julius Randle? Knicks are ready to move.
Interesting.
Julius Randle of the Knicks. And by the way, they don't need size.
Really interesting.
They don't need size. They could use Jordan Poole.
That's really interesting.
Because you've got a
you know what? You've had Jordan Poole on the market, and nobody is even stopped. Nobody's parking and walking in to look at that. They're like they've seen that advertisement.
So what do I have? But Julius Randle.
This is the problem, and the problem is Clay and Jordan. You're sold that Clay's going to stay there, and I have no reason to believe that he's not. But he wants to get paid in a big way.
You can't pay him big.
And you can't have Clay and Jordan as your rotation at the 2 spot. You need a big defensive guard. You need what Clay used to be when he was young. And so if there was one of the 3 that I was going to move, and I hate to say this, the problem is they let the story go on. It was storybook when Clay made it all the way back and they won a ring last year.
Should have moved off it.
That was it. Like, end the story there. Because it wasn't going to get better than that. And I look, the emotional attachment to it, the connection that Steph, Clay, and Dre have, I get. But I saw this happen with the Celtics. I've been around long enough to remember they hung on forever with Kevin McHale and Larry Bird and Dennis Johnson and Robert Parrish, and they couldn't break it up. They couldn't go in another direction. And as a result, they hit the skids for a long stretch. That's what the Warriors are facing if they decide they make an emotional decision and say, these guys have given us too much. They've done too much. We're not breaking up. It's time to look at that core. I'm keeping Steph. I'll keep Draymond. I'll sign him. If he opts out, I'll sign him to like a 2-year deal for say $20 million a year. I'll extend that, but then everybody else is on the table.
Okay, so Wiggins on the table.
Everything is on the table. Wiggins would probably be my 3rd keeper, but I got to consider like what I'm trying to get. I'm going to have to give up some kind of talent. I can't give away. I can't just try to get rid of all my bad stuff and expect to get good stuff.
You got a pre-KD, 2KD, a post-KD. I could argue Steph, Draymond, and let's make a deal.
Yeah,
let's just go for it.
I'm open to that because it's not what they have is not. I know what they've said. What they have is not going to get better. There's no. look at their roster right now and say this is on the uptick. It's growing. It's getting better. It is slowly decaying and declining. They need to make a big move.
That's exciting. Ja Morant, if I recall, when they did that brief suspension, you weren't sold on that.
Not at all.
Yeah.
That was PR 101. We're going to make it look like, I mean, come on. You got it wasn't just one incident. It was a series of incidents. This was a lifestyle. This was a lot of decisions, a lot of bad decisions. And you're going to send him away for 3-4 days for therapy, and then he's going to come back and he's going to do the big national TV interview, and I've changed and I've realized my mistakes. And I'm like, come on, who are we kidding here? And we're going to get him right back out on the court because that was the most important thing. The Grizzlies and the NBA, it's not to say that Ja doesn't have responsibility, but the Grizzlies and the NBA have let down, are spoiling what should be one of the faces of the league. Exciting, electric player, great backstory, and it seems like there's no guidance here or no accountability, and hasn't been, and that hasn't changed. So the fact that we are where we are does not surprise me in the least.
Ric Bucher, we are going to an undisclosed location tonight for more. Yeah, you're going home with your kids. I have an NBA insider I'm going to dinner with.
I didn't even know it was undisclosed. This is like one of those Billions thing where they go and they have some like secret chef who comes out and you put the napkin over your head and you eat with your eyes closed so that you can really experience the
kind of a Vanilla Sky meets a pasta place or something.
Have you seen Vanilla Sky, the Tom Cruise movie?
No, I've heard it's like all crazy.
Oh, it's one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies ever. Wow, I can't believe you even know about it.
Have you seen it? I've never seen it.
No.
Have you seen Mission Impossible?
All I want to know is if there's an affinado somewhere.
Oh, that's the best. I introduced him to that. Avocado?
By the way, Jordan Poole.
I
just need to come back to Jordan Poole for a second.
Americanas.
Rick.
Yes, J-Mac.
His trade value is so low right now.
Colin, we got something to cover here.
His trade value is so low. Why would you trade him now?
He averages 25 a game when he starts.
Okay. And in the playoffs, he basically pooped his pants and cost himself all his trade value.
How about Orlando? Jalen Suggs hasn't been as good as advertised. Banchero's been great. They could use a perimeter shooter.
This is the price. It's not so much the talent.
It's the maturity.
It's the maturity. And it's everybody now. I think everybody now is looking at it going, maybe Draymond had a reason.
Stop it.
I'm telling you.
To punch out your teammates?
No. I'm just saying, I'm not defending what he did.
But
they're just looking at it and looking how he acted. And let's look, the real Clay and Steph would never slug him. But they were like if you go through all of their comments over the last 2 years, they were done with him. Done with him might be a little strong, but they were certainly annoyed with the behavior. So this is not an isolated Draymond thing. And again, I'm in no way defending what he did, but to think that Jordan didn't have a part in this, that this was just an innocent little smack talk. No, this was something that had built up, and it was the last straw.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.